Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. It's December 30th, and this is another episode of Let There Be Talk, number 510. We are one day away from the end of the decade. 2020 is coming. Where's all the time go? Anyway, I don't know what you guys are going to do, but I'm going to ring in the new year with the Grateful Dead, Dead & Co., John Mayer, Bob Weir, the boys. Gonna spend it here. I'm still in San Francisco. I was out here doing shows with Joey Diaz at the Palace of Fine Arts, which was absolutely electric. Any of you that were there, thank you for coming out. What a way to wind down the year. Let's see, how many shows did I do for the year? I think I got it right here. I think it was, this was the first year since my first year doing comedy that I didn't reach 400. I made it to 390. Damn it. But it's all good because the shows are way longer and more quality than quantity as I get deeper into my career and my 11th year of doing stand-up comedy. So yeah, 390 for 2019. Not bad for having a fucked up neck and bouncing around all over from New York to LA back and forth and all that shit. So got some work done in that year. Let's say that. And let's see, what's all your New Year's resolutions that you're not going to deal with in a couple weeks? Mine, here I am once again, going to learn Spanish this year for the 20th year. I'm going to learn Spanish. All right. So yeah, the end of the year. Now listen, I'm going to do a full end of the year episode on my Patreon that will be out this week. Patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. I'll be talking about my favorite movies, records of the year, and stuff that I did that really was incredible, and also the bad shit of 2019. You can't just talk all good. There's ups and downs out there, and that'll be out this week. Patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. I want to thank some of the Patreoners out there for their donations this week. Mark Brunot, King of the Delraisers, Matt Stone, James Scallion, and Joe Fleischer. James DeWeaver coming through with a PayPal donation. Thank you, brother, right there. Some incredible tour dates coming up. They're all on DeanDelRey.com. And this Saturday, I'll be in Fresno headlining at the Tower Theater. And then I go to Vegas. Oh, sorry, I go to Bridgeport. No, wait. Yeah, where do I go? Bridgeport, Connecticut. When is that? Fuck, I don't know. God, I'm fucking this up. My own tour dates. But big Mark Maron tour, and that's all on the website. Here we go. I got them right here. How dumb am I? I yell at you guys for not using my website, and then I'm not using my website like an idiot. Mark Maron tour, Freeze Your Ass tour. I am touring with the great Mark Maron, my mentor, one of my best friends on the planet, and one of the greatest comedians in the business. And a big inspiration for this podcast. I will be out touring with him starting January 30th all the way through February, what is that? The 23rd. A long, great tour. And I cannot wait for this. Also, a new date just added, Treasure Island in Vegas with Joey Diaz, February 28th. And I'll be headlining Portsmouth, New Hampshire, March 13th and 14th. That's pretty damn cool. So lots of tour dates. Starting off 2020. Pretty damn strong. I love all you guys. Have a great New Year's Eve. And let's talk a little bit about the guest. This guest today, this is a special episode for me. When I started stand-up comedy, at the time, I was selling motorcycles, and it was fun, grueling. It had all kinds of insanity. The the drama and the comedy that goes down at a motorcycle dealership would blow your mind. And I sit down and talk to my former boss and a great friend, and that's the best thing I got out of working at Harley was this man, Garo Aroutiounian, as my he was my boss, and now just a fantastic lifelong friend. And we sit down and we talk about my time working at Harley Davidson, and then later on working at Hollywood, BMW, and Honda, and just what that was like, selling bikes, being a lunatic, making money, not making money. This is a very funny episode to hear some of these stories now that I think back. Think back on it. You know, I've been doing comedy 10 years, and part of my life was working at this Harley dealer while I was doing comedy at night. Just a complete zombie. 2 jobs, basically. Both didn't pay. Anyway, enjoy it, and thank you, Garo, for doing the show, and keep the candles lit, everybody. Happy New Year. Here he is, Garo Aroutiounian. All right, here we are, another episode of Let There Be Talk, and another episode recorded out here in Nashville while I'm here. I just got done doing the high watt. It was pretty, it was awesome. It was awesome. I'll get more into that later on, but this is a crazy guest today from me, actually, because it's one of my oldest LA friends. That's and right. My ex-boss from Harley Davidson, which I talk a lot about. I used to work at Harley before I started comedy. Right. I played music 25 years. People always go like, "Oh, he's going to say he played music 25 years." But I did, and then after I tapped out, I was like, "What do I want to do?" And I realized I'm going to sell Harleys. And my guest today, introduce yourself, buddy.
Well, my name is Garo.
Garo Aroutiounian.
Aroutiounian. Right, yeah.
Probably the first Armenian guy I ever met.
Probably.
Yeah, because I lived in the Bay Area. I didn't know any Armenian guys.
You didn't even know what they were, right?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, L.A. is a big Armenian population.
Big time.
But where I grew up, I never... I didn't even know, it just wasn't around. But we meet. I moved to L.A. about 20 years ago, and I lived in Silver Lake, and I needed somebody to service my Harleys. So
let me tell you the first thing we met.
Okay.
Let me tell you how it really went down.
Yeah, you got a better memory than me.
Yeah, well, let me tell you. So it was about 2002, I think.
That's when it was.
Yeah. So it was, I think it was in January or so, because I remember the V-Rod had just come out.
Yeah.
And you come like storming into the showroom.
Storming in.
Yeah. And I was standing there, and you're all, "Dude, you got any Screaming Eagle Road Kings coming in?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're $35,000. Okay, which ones do you have?" A red one and a purple one. I'll take both. You'll take both? Yeah, put me down on the list.
Yeah.
I go, "Okay, yeah, sure." So I write your name down on a list or whatever. "Okay, call me when you get them." I said, "All right." So you go walking out the dealership, right? And I go, "Who is this guy?" So I look out the window, and I see you riding a V-Rod.
Yeah, the brand new 02 V-Rod just came out.
Nobody had it yet.
Nobody.
Yeah. And I go, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And that's the first day we met, man.
That's hilarious that you remember it.
Oh, yeah, I remember it. And there was many other times that you came in where I'm like, this guy's full of shit.
Yeah.
Like some of the name drops he did and this and that. I'm like, there's no way he knows these guys. Sure enough, he knew every single one of them. Like Bill Wall.
Yeah. And I would send him to the shop.
Yeah.
Send him to the shop.
Yeah.
So you're working at Glendale Harley. You'd been working there for years, and we had talked about the golden era of Harley, which was late 80s, early 90s, where you used to have to come in, you would put your name on a list and hope you got a fucking motorcycle.
Right.
And what was the finance rate? Like 20% for everyone?
It was 15.5
for everyone.
Everybody.
Didn't matter what
matter what your credit was.
And I remember at the time being in San Francisco, at Dudley Perkins, you put your name on the list, and then a bike came in, and it didn't matter what it was. Like, well, we got a Sportster.
No color option.
And that's
no
what you're getting.
option,
Either that or you went back on the list.
That's right.
So I'm riding, and I'm going to Glendale. I'm new in L.A. I've been going there. I was going there for a few years. I'm buying bikes from you.
Right.
And at the time, I was flipping Screaming Eagles.
Yes. V-Rods.
V-Rods, and making some money doing it.
Yep.
And it was interesting because it was an era of motorcycles where people couldn't get them. It's like anything that I love or you love.
Yeah.
Rolex watches you
Right.
can't get, cars you can't get.
Right.
Anytime they say you can't get it,
You want it.
I want it.
Yeah.
And I think that's how most people are. So fast forward, I believe it's years later, and I had got done on the last tour. I was out playing music. I came home. I realized this is done. And I figure, what do I want to do? Maybe I'll sell motorcycles,
By then, I switched over to Van Nuys Harley.
Right. So you tell me you're working at a dealer in Van Nuys, and I went over there and I was like, ooh, this is a downgrade. Because
Totally.
Glendale was this premier Harley dealer.
Yeah, beautiful story. Yeah.
Yeah. But quickly, I realized it was an original 1965 dealership that was an old AMF dealer.
Right.
And a guy had bought it, and you started working there.
Right. And then you came in and said, hey, I want to start selling Harleys here.
Yeah, like part-time, I
Yeah.
said.
And I said, I don't know if you'll make a lot of money here, Dean. And you said, no, it's okay. I
just wanted health care.
Yeah.
At the time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I
that's
wanted
right,
health
that's
care.
right. So,
just like right now.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
So I asked my boss, the owner,
Yeah.
I said, hey, this Dean wants a job here. And he goes, well, what do you think? I go, I don't know, man. I said, I don't know. He said, well, give him a shot. I said, okay, let's do it.
It took a while, though. It took like 3 weeks. I'm like, what's going on?
Right. So then,
Can I work there?
So this is your first day there.
Yeah.
So you come in, and the owner, the Mike is his
Mike
name.
Moffat was his name.
Mike Moffat, yeah. So he owns the place. So he comes into the showroom, sees you. You guys start chatting, and in the middle of his sentence, you look past him and see a customer walk onto the showroom, and you just beeline right for the customer. And Mike was still talking, and you just walked away like nothing.
From the owner.
You're from the owner, just
Yeah.
to go help the customer out. And yeah, you turned out to be quite a sales guy, man.
Oh, man.
Number one.
I remember.
Best I've ever seen.
I remember at one point, you would call me the plate spinner. I sold 7 bikes in one day.
Yeah. I think you did 10 in 2 days. Is what
10,
you did.
yeah.
10 in 2 days.
But on the Saturday, I was like, okay, I got this guy going over here.
Yeah.
I need you to paper this
Yeah,
guy.
you were
I
the
got this
plate
guy.
spinner.
Yeah, I'm running this guy over here, and I got a dude out front here. He wants to see the red one. And I was just killing it. And all of a sudden, first time in my life, I made some money.
Yeah, we were turning some big money.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And immediately it was, I hadn't had a job, and I realized right away that, people hate me here
Right.
because
Because you're making money.
I was making money. But not only that, I was into it. And these people were long not into it,
Right.
long in the tooth, been there too long. They
Yeah.
weren't into Harley Davidson. And they, I just blazed by them. I remember specifically a guy would be like, oh, here comes this guy, Leonard. He never buys nothing. And then that day I talked to the guy and he buys like a $50,000 bike with full extended warranty
Right.
and everything. And then the guy hates me,
Right.
and it was really the first time I really experienced that of like weird small workplace crazy jealousy and sabotaging and stuff, which I think really kind of got me prepared for Los Angeles, really. I mean, I'd been in LA for years, but I was here and there, gone all the time. But it really gets you ready for people that are kind of like, fuck that guy for no reason, which was pretty bizarre,
Yeah.
And man, quickly what happened there was I realized we were having the time of our life.
It was fun.
Yeah. You and I worked about 6 days a week.
Right.
I went by no rules.
Right.
You're supposed to wear.
That's because I ran behind you with the fire extinguisher.
Yeah. Putting out flames.
Oh man.
And there was these rules like you had to work Sunday. And I was like, I'm not working Sunday.
Yeah.
I just sold 40 bikes this month. I am not working Sunday.
Yeah, we gave you a lot of leeway.
Yeah, but I was into it and I was killing
Yeah, on
it.
Sundays you used to take everybody for a ride.
Yeah,
remember?
take everybody
Whoever
for a
you
ride.
sold the bike to that week, you said, "Hey, come and join me for a ride."
That's
And
how
that
I
worked
sold
very
more
well.
bikes.
Yeah, that worked well.
It was funny, like, to think about how great it was and how quickly it went away, because we're talking about, I believe, 06, Fannie Mae and all that shit hits.
Yeah, 06, 07 is when the street light. No, 06 was when the street light came out.
Right.
And then when did it crash? In 08.
It was like right around there. All of a sudden, people were just not buying bikes.
Yeah.
And we went from making good money to, I remember I got a check for $900 for the month. And I was like, $900? One thing I quickly realized, though, it was the first time I ever made money in my life. And I quickly was just spending it all trying to fill holes in my heart that were gone from performing all my life. Like, I thought I was happy, but I would just spend all the money.
Yeah, I think in 1 year you bought 13 motorcycles.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? That's true. At one point I said, yeah, I've owned, I think, 50 or 75 motorcycles. And one time a guy tweeted, "You're such a bullshitter." And then I was like so mad at this guy. Instead of just blowing off a troll, I started posting photo after photo after photo of every bike I ever had. And it was like all Screaming Eagles and rare shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You bought 2 bikes in 1 week.
I bought
6 days, I think you bought 2 bikes.
2 bikes in a week, yeah. Now, I wrote down some kind of notes while I was flying here.
So did I. That's funny.
That's great. Okay.
I didn't fly here, but yeah.
Yeah. So let's get a little bit into some of the things I'll drop, and then you drop some shit. And first of all, one of the early celebrities would come into this place.
Correct.
And let me tell you, we're in Van Nuys. And at the time, Van Nuys is now kind of coming up because of everything's so expensive. But at the time, it was straight ghetto. It was in the middle of just this industrial junkyard by the Burbank Airport.
Gross.
Yeah, it was gross. But the dealer was cool. It was old and fucked. Yeah. One time, a car crashed right into the dealer.
Oh, that's right, man.
Dude, we're like sitting there.
No. Hey, remember this?
Yeah.
Hey, it's been a while since there hasn't been an accident out here.
As soon as I said that.
As soon as you said that, that car came up, piling up the street, bouncing off cars.
Bouncing off cars. I mean, it was unbelievable. He crashed into the dealership.
Yeah.
So we're working there, and quickly I realized celebrities were coming in there because there was no one around to bother them. Shia LaBeouf was one of them. Remember, his dad came in. My son's buying me a bike.
That's right.
And I don't know what happened, but one of the early ones came in was R. Kelly's cousin or uncle, Mel Kelly.
Right.
Now, this guy, Mel Kelly, now, you guys, if you've never sold anything, especially motorcycles, there's a thing that happens at a dealership where 20 or 30 people will just hang out every day all week. And you're like, do you make any money? How do you make money? No, And this guy, R. Kelly, came in, or Mel Kelly came in one day. He's like, yeah, man, my brother-in-law, what I think it was his uncle or something.
Nephew, I don't know.
Nephew, yeah.
Maybe it was,
He's R. Kelly. And we're just like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I thought he was bullshitting.
Yeah.
Turns out he was, this guy started buying bikes.
Yeah.
And he bought his lady a bike. He bought bikes. And one time, this is one of the funniest stories, we went riding, and he had drank a little bit on a Sunday. And we were riding into this part of town out in the hills. And he tried to show off a little bit, and he just crashed. And he, to play it off, he walked over to this lady's dog, and he's like, "What brand is that dog? What brand is that dog?
What brand of dog is that?"
Yeah, and I was like, "Dude, your bike there." And he goes, "Oh, yeah." He made it look like he just threw it down.
To check out the dog.
Yeah, to check out the dog. It was unbelievable. He was saying, and another time he full on crashed. He had a cigar in his mouth. He was wearing an orange sweater, and we were coming into a turn, and he came in way too hot, and he hit it. And he looked like Garfield the cat, big orange sweater, and the cigar came out of his mouth, and he just crashed. I never forgot that.
Hey, he got out of the car one time with his big trench coat.
Yeah.
And it was like a fur or something, and you said, "Hey, is that pit bull?"
Yeah.
The material, the hair on his.
Yeah.
I thought that shit was a funny. Hey, what's that made out of? Pit bull?
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was funny, man.
So we had some good times there, man. I remember one time Kevin James came in.
Right.
He came in, he goes, I'm doing a movie in Kansas City or something.
Yeah.
And this is after Mall Cop. This guy was huge. Huge star.
Yeah.
And he goes, I want to ride across country. Would you go? He asked me to go with him, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Would you go with us and kind of help us? And we'll pay you or whatever to go. And I go, oh, yeah, I'll go. So we're building a bike for him. And in the middle of it, he wants an employee's bike.
That's right.
So we stay till like 10 at night and we tear it all apart the way he wants it. And he doesn't tip us or thank us or anything.
No.
He just see ya, and we never see him again. I don't go on the ride.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was crazy to see stuff like that.
Yeah. We stayed late a lot of times.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the problem with this job.
Yeah.
There was no hours.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd be there, and the people we worked with were long gone.
Oh, yeah. It was just you and I.
Yeah, you and I. And we're just trying to do these deals with crazy people,
Right.
trying to get them financed. It was stressful, but
Okay.
funny as fuck.
Let me pick one out of my
Yeah,
list there.
yeah.
Chongo.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
The purchase of Chongo.
Yeah, so I'm going to buy a West Coast chopper, Jesse James actual Chongo.
Nice.
At the time, I owned Death Dealer.
So Dean comes to me and he says, you came to me, right?
Yeah.
You came to me with, hey, can you get this bike financed? And so we contacted Harley, right? And I forget.
Which, by the way, I want to let everybody know, I financed everything and kept my credit incredible so I could constantly flip and turn bikes, which I later backfired because Harley was like, we're not financing this guy anymore because I'm just using their bank and just paying it off.
That's
and they
right,
got
that's
furious.
Right. Well, you actually borrowed $50,000 from Doug.
Oh, I did.
Right?
Oh,
Remember, you guys went to the bank.
I forgot
You guys
about
went
that.
to the bank to try to get the money. It took all day to get 50 grand.
Yeah, from our boss.
Yeah, that's
our
right.
boss.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
borrowed
yeah.
50 grand. I don't even have it. I can't even believe he did it.
I think you were working there 4 weeks, and you said, "Hey, can I borrow 50 grand?" And he went, "Okay."
I can't even believe that right now.
That's
Yeah.
right. So then we went down to Jesse James' West Coast Choppers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And Chongo was parked there, and I kept telling you, "You're out of your mind."
And by the way, it's the most famous
Yeah,
motorcycle
it is.
in the last, besides Easy Rider,
Right.
choppers.
Yeah. So I learned later.
Yeah.
Jesse was there, right?
Yeah.
And you handed him the 50 grand.
Yeah.
And he opened the drawer in his desk and threw it in there and just closed it.
Didn't even look at it.
Didn't even count it.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Hey, the bike's over there.
Yeah.
And make sure you get me the rest of my money."
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And you rode that bike home.
I rode it home.
And there was no title.
No title.
We couldn't even get it financed.
Yeah.
We owed Doug 50 grand.
Yeah.
And finally Jesse came through with the title.
Yeah, but first he called up and said, bring that bike back
yeah.
right now, motherfucker.
Yeah, bring the bike back. I got another one for you. Just take this one. And you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, fuck no."
Because I sold Death Dealer to
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Which I sold the greatest West Coast chopper Death Dealer to get the first greatest.
Yeah. Boy, we were in a big pickle there. But we
Dude,
did pull it off.
We did pull it off.
Yeah.
Here's the funniest part about it was no one could figure out a value on it.
Oh, that's right.
But that month there was a Men's Health magazine with him on the cover, and in there it said these bikes run from 100 to 300,000, and we gave that to the financing, and they
That's right.
approved the loan.
Yeah, they were only doing choppers for us at the time.
Right.
After that,
We were
one,
the
yeah.
only ones.
Yeah.
God.
They wouldn't do it from anybody else. Yeah. Well, I think we financed probably 7 different West Coast choppers out of there.
Yeah. And then we started selling them and stuff to other people.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I got a fucking great story. I mean, this place is just loaded with stories, but it's so funny to think about what was going on in there. But early on, before Sons of Anarchy was happening, they came in to the dealership. I'll never forget it. So they come in, they go, "We're making a TV show.
I remember that. Yeah.
It's about Harleys, a biker 1% club, and we need some Harleys. I think he said they had like 17 grand or something. And I go, well, that'll get you 2. And they go, 2? And I go, yeah. And you know what's funny was we sold him that white Dyna. And that was the guy that actually, fuck, man, that guy went cuckoo and killed his landlady later, which is weird in real life. But they said 2, and I never forget what they said. They go, well, can we just in the show have 2 Harleys and then the rest just be like some Hondas and like $20 bikes in the background? And I remember sitting down with the guy and going, no, because that'll cancel your show right away. No one will think it's real. It'll just be no. And they were like, really? They didn't understand that. You had to have Harleys.
Because that's how they've always done it.
Right, exactly. That's how they always did it.
Yeah.
Just some background bikes. They were smart, though. They hired actors that you had to have a bike. And so they paid you and then extra for your bike each day. But there was crazy shit like that. People came in. I mean, my whole comedy career starts at that dealership. Yeah. And when I really...
Dude, you would kill all of us in there, man. Some of those stories, dude. I tell my son sometimes the stories. We die laughing, man.
Oh.
Shit's so funny, dude.
It was so incredible.
Yeah, we had a great time. Hey, what about the Hell Ride?
Hell Ride. That's what I'm saying. That's how my comedy career starts.
But do you remember what happened with Hell Ride and how we recruited one of the sales consultants?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Ruined him?
That was crazy. That was crazy. What was his name? Mike
Masesco.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was there consulting for us.
Yeah.
And you were going to go do an audition.
Yep.
And he was a talker, right?
Yeah.
So I said, hey, go with Dean and try out for this movie role. I'm going to do that shit.
Yeah.
No, go try it. All right, I'll go try it. So he goes out there with you, right?
Yeah.
You guys read lines, and then you guys come back, and turns out both of you guys landed a serious part in the movie.
Yeah. Well, that's really where my comedy career starts, because the Tarantino people show up at the dealership one day. They said, we're doing a biker movie. Will you help advise on it? I said, you got it. From there, I get an audition. The audition leads to me doing Hell Ride. From that, I land a role in the Ice Cube film, which is the same producers and Fred directing. Right. And on that Ice Cube film is where I meet 3 comedians, Michael Collier, Earthquake, and Garrett Morris from Saturday Night Live. And after shooting that for a couple months, remember, I'm working, and I go, yeah, I'm going to go out and do this movie. I'll be back in like 2 weeks. Remember? And I'm gone for like 2 months.
Oh, that's right.
Remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
But from doing that movie, I meet these comedians. I tell them I want to try comedy. And then when I get home, I start doing it. And when you look at where I'm at right now in my career, it's 10 years next month. What had to happen for me to start comedy is so insane. I had to stop playing music. Then I had to start working at Van Nuys Harley. Then those Tarantino people had to come onto the lot. Then I have to land a role in that movie, which leads me to the Ice Cube movie, which leads me to comedy. It's so fucking weird to me how life works, you know?
Yeah.
So I remember I started doing comedy, and I'm going out every night. I'm telling you, I'm doing comedy, man. And another coworker there, Robert, says he's going to do comedy.
Yeah.
And we're doing comedy every night, open mics and shit.
Yeah, you were a busy guy.
And then the dealership closes. What happens is Harley demands at the time that you have like 100,000 square foot dealership, and my job is gone.
Yeah.
Which, to look back on it now, was the greatest thing that ever happened.
That was a blessing for you.
Because if the dealership didn't close, I wouldn't have done comedy so serious. But once it was gone, I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? But I'd been stung by comedy and loved it and started doing comedy full on. Like full on. And the same way I sold motorcycles, I took comedy on. And that's just I'm fucking doing this. And
but we also did Hollywood.
Well, yeah, that's how, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Because what happens is the dealership closes, and I've got a good amount of money to live off for a while. So I'm doing comedy. I go, all right, I'll give myself $20 a day. I'm going to I'll be able to make it by 2 years. I'll be making money and I'm rolling. And after 2 years, I ran out of money and the dealership closed and you started working at Hollywood, Honda, BMW.
Right.
And I said, I go, dude, I need a job again. And I didn't tell any of the comedians because I didn't want them to think I wasn't serious.
Right.
So remember, I'm working there, and I said, don't tell anybody I'm working there. I didn't put it on Instagram ever. Remember, like...
And then Chappelle walked in one day.
Yeah, remember that? It was crazy.
You took off your BMW shirt so fast and threw it down. You're all... Yeah, just hanging out here with Chappelle.
Yeah, it was crazy. I'm talking to Chappelle. I'm like, yeah, I do comedy and stuff, too. And I didn't want anyone to know I worked there. So I would work all day till 5.
Yeah.
I'd go, remember, straight home. I'd take a 1-hour nap, and then I'd hit the open mics all night. And then I would go out to the diner till 3 a.m. with D'Elia and Ian Edwards and Eric Griffin. And then I'd get up again at 8 or 9 and come to work. And I'd just be like, ugh, out of my mind.
And you also bought many motorcycles there, too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I bought
how many bikes did you go through there?
Probably, 15?
Probably. I'd say 15, yeah.
Yeah,
Easy.
but I fell in love with BMW.
Yeah.
So now we're selling Beamers.
Yeah.
Here we are, 2 Harley guys.
Yeah.
We're selling Beamers. We're in a totally different... We're in Hollywood, so crazy stars are coming in.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, remember the guy from Sex Pistols? What's his
Steve
name?
Jones.
Steve Jones.
Yeah.
What a cool guy that guy
Oh,
was.
he was great.
That guy would just come and hang all the time.
Remember he rode in his Beamer and he had like Chrome Hearts custom-made seat. That's a $5,000
License plate
seat.
said papers.
Yeah, remember that? Who else came in there while we were in there, man? Oh, I remember once Donnie Wahlberg came in to the Van Nuys shop.
That's right.
And sold him a bike, and we hung out for a while. Remember that? And then he landed that big TV show where he was a cop.
Dude, I'm bad with actors' names, but who's the guy from was it Full House? The guy from Full House?
Full House. Oh, the dad?
No.
Full House.
The hip guy.
Blackie, the guy, the dude from General Hospital and shit. He played drums.
Nah, maybe not him.
What's his name? Fuck, I can't remember either.
Yeah. There was some big stars.
Let me look. John Sykes came in a lot from Whitesnake and Thin Lizzy. You didn't know who he was, but I'd be like, dude, that's John Sykes, man.
And who's that?
Remember, he'd hang out all day at the giant H2 or Hummer or whatever.
Yeah. But even at Harley, we had Fred Durst would always come in, right?
Yeah. All kinds of celebrities in there. It's funny.
Mike Beach.
Yeah, Beach. Beach and I did that movie together. It's so funny, man, just to think about all the... It's weird how life works, though, you know?
Time flies, man.
I remember, I recently told the story on Joey D's podcast, though, about how I farted on the customer.
Man.
It's funny how you remembered it better.
Yeah, that's probably, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Yeah.
It was like Saturday morning.
Right, we're watching Long Way Around.
Yeah.
Right. And,
which is this, what's his name? He rides a Beamer around the world. What is his name?
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor, yeah. So we're watching that, and we're standing up in the showroom. We're both kind of zoned in on this. And a customer walks in behind us and is watching the TV also.
It's a giant plasma screen, and it's Saturday morning. It's like 10 a.m.
Yeah. And he kind of creeps up behind Dean, and he's kind of watching the show with us. And Dean doesn't think anybody's standing there and just farts real loud to try to mess with me.
Yeah.
And I look over at Dean, and he starts to laugh a little bit, and I go, "There's a customer right behind you."
Dude.
And when Dean looked back, the customer took like 3 steps back, and we fell on the ground laughing, man.
Dude.
I couldn't breathe, man. I laughed, I think, for 30 minutes.
We laughed so fucking hard. But there was so many times that we laughed that I truly believe that those got me through my because it's early 40s, because I started comedy at 44. And my life was really in a weird situation.
Yeah,
where
you had a lot of ups and downs.
I had a lot of ups and downs, and also I had moved to LA and to keep going in my music career. And after that was done, I had no real, people to hang with and stuff there. LA is very transient. Yeah. And all of a sudden, like, you and the dealership not really anybody in there, but you and I, it was like family.
Totally.
And it became like, oh, this is great. Like I have something to do with the back end of my life. I look at that like that. It's so bizarre. And then I got the fuck out of there. And I was like,
you fucker.
Yeah, well, you know, it's bizarre, right? Because you've been in sales.
Yeah.
And isn't it kind of weird the vibe of how people can hate salespeople that you work with? Because at one month you might be making 15 grand, but what they don't see is the other month you could be making $2.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
it's a hero to a zero every month,
and why they're hourly, just doing nothing, you know, like moving slow. You're like, dude, I need this done right away, and they're like, yeah, I'll get to that next. And you're like, dude, you don't understand. If this doesn't happen right now, this guy's walking, you know, weird shit. Like I remember that guy didn't buy a bike from me because he didn't get a free shirt. Remember that? So he rides up on a bike. I go, oh, dude, what do you do? He goes, yeah, I got a bike.
Yeah, that's right. I remember
Beef
that. Yeah.
wouldn't give me a shirt. I was like, what? That kind of stuff.
I remember that.
Yeah, it would just floor you. It would floor you. It's weird that both dealers we worked at closed.
Oh, they did. It wasn't due to us.
No, not us.
Yeah, no. Couldn't have been that.
No. It really wasn't, though. It was just the time.
I know.
And motorcycle sales now are really weird
really
because of
think about
millennials and everything. They don't ride.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. Man, I remember, like, I would go on these Sturgis trips. That's the good thing about Van Nuys. Like, you were my boss, and I'd be like, hey, dude, I'm doing a movie, so I'm going to be gone.
Right.
I would always say, I'll be gone 2 weeks.
Yeah,
It'd be months.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
We gave you a lot of leeway there,
Yeah. What is it like to sell motorcycles? Now, you moved to Nashville.
Right.
And you definitely have been in the game. Like, how long were you in it? Like
25 years.
25 years.
Yeah.
And you saw the big money, and then the no money we were making.
Right.
And now you're still kind of in it. What's it like, man?
I really can't stand any of the corporate Harley Davidson stuff anymore.
Right.
It's not a biker scene anymore.
Yeah.
It's a real sellout, I think.
Yeah.
I now work for a shop in Murfreesboro. It's called Hooligan Cycles.
Yeah.
It's a small mom and pop place. There's 5 of us there. We do shovel heads. We do Evos.
Yeah, cool old shit.
Motor builds. Like, we have fun. And the boss there always says, the day it's not fun anymore, I don't want to do it. I'm going to close it.
Wow.
So, it's a great place, man. I dig it. But, yeah, the new Harley stuff coming out is just,
it's pretty
It's
lost.
a finished product, basically, now. You know, there's no customizing left.
Right.
The bikes are, I mean, have you seen the new, I hate to get off topic, but have you seen the new K1600B?
Unbelievable.
I just saw one yesterday.
It's
it came by the
unbelievable.
shop.
Yeah.
That bike's $25,000.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable.
I mean, the new street light right now is $29,000 or something.
Dude,
$25,000 that bike is. It's the most amazing looking performing bike I have seen.
It's once you start riding BMW and Ducati, it's really weird. You know, there's that mentality of all of our life of like American made. I'm a biker and US and all that. But, you know, after a while, if you're a real rider and you ride every fucking day, you need everything that's working for the bike. Everything. Because in this world of texting and smoking weed and vaping and loud stereos, no one's watching you. You need GPS. You need ABS brakes. You need traction control.
What about headlights that steer into corners?
Yeah, all that shit. Heated seat, heated grips, you know.
And all that stuff should be stock,
you
know, and come with the bike.
Yeah. I mean, when I got that BMW.
Yeah, which one?
The 1600.
Yeah, I remember.
It has a 3 Series BMW motor in it.
Yeah.
6-cylinder motor.
Right, inline 6, yeah.
Dude, that thing was insane. I talked to Roland Sands. He goes, greatest bike ever made. His dad has 2.
Yeah, it's a fantastic machine.
It is. I think really what happened to me was I got a sour taste in my mouth over when my bike blew up 3 times in 2 months.
Is this the Springer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Harley came out with the new 110 engine. They tried to get it past emissions in California, and the bike ran so hot that it would melt head gaskets.
That's right, I remember
melt
that.
them.
Yeah.
And the first 3 weeks it melted them, and they didn't have gaskets for like 2 months. It just sat outside.
Right, I remember.
And I didn't work at Harley at the time,
Yeah.
which was weird. I'd show up, no gaskets, and there'd just be rags in the barrels outside a $30,000 bike.
That was the Blue Springer, right?
Blue Springer.
Yeah.
And then I remember I flew to the dealer show.
That's right. We took you with us. Yeah.
Yep, and asked the head guy of CVO face to face, dude, if I buy a new Springer, a new Screaming Eagle next year, will it have the same problems? He goes, nope, and it did. It just melted
It's
down.
a company line, man.
Yeah, it's
What color did you buy? Red, or did you buy another blue one?
no. I bought they had a different model. I
Oh,
think
okay.
Road Glide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it just melted gaskets. It's a tough world, man. Motorcycles.
Yeah.
I think one of the wildest stories. There's a couple. I told Bill Burr this story, and he's like, "Whoa!" First one that'll blow your mind was. I do a bit where I say selling motorcycles is a lot like selling drugs. Most people are going to die on them, but I need the money. You know what I mean? I tell that joke on stage, and it's real.
It is real. I've never thought about it.
Yeah. So I remember specifically a guy came in and he goes, yeah, I'm looking to buy a motorcycle. I go, cool. And he goes, I want this one. And it was the Evel Knievel Dyna, the first 6-speed one. Remember the white with the red, white, and blue? That Dyna, first 6-speed, yeah.
I remember. The Evel Knievel, yeah.
It was kind of the paint scheme of AMF.
Yeah.
I just call it Evel Knievel.
Yeah, that's right.
So he goes, I'll be back next week to pick it up. So he comes back on a Saturday. We got about 20 bikes out front. We've got an employee bench where a couple guys were smoke cigarettes all the time. And the guy shows up. I roll the bike out. And there's like 10 of us outside. We always hung out outside. It'd be 109 degrees outside. And we're out there, and so I'm going through the bike. We always go through the bike. Okay, here's your blinkers. Here's your starter. Here's how you turn it on and off. Here's this, that. So I started up. He gets on the bike, and I go, are you all good? And he goes, yeah, I'm good. And I look at him, and I go, hey, you rode before, right? And he goes, oh, yeah. I shook his hand, and it was soaking wet. And as I pulled back, he rolled the throttle on 10, wide open. He had the clutch in, so he was revving it like this, like it was a dirt bike. He rolled the throttle all the way on, and he let the clutch out. I've never seen this in my life. The bike left the ground. I've never seen it left the ground. He fell off. It ghost rided, smashed into 3 of our bikes, and almost ran 2 employees over. In that minute, he took out his insurance. He took out 4 bikes. You remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
4 bikes.
The mark was in the ground
It was in the ground.
for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
It took like an inch of asphalt out of the ground.
It was like a super burnout.
Yeah.
And it left the ground like a bucking bronco.
Yeah. It was airborne.
Yeah. And we ran. Like, he was okay, but we ran.
There was a guy sitting at the tables, Matt. Remember Rudy?
Rudy and the other guy
Yeah,
that
they just-
smoked cigarettes and
they
rode the
jumped
Dyna.
out of the way,
The nitrite, they
yeah.
jumped out of the way.
Yeah.
If we had that on video, it would have like 10 billion hits on YouTube. There was another time where this guy showed up. He bought a bike from a guy there. It wasn't our deal. He was buying a Beamer, and it wasn't our deal. They just meet at the lot, and they're out there, and the guy goes, "This is an ABS bike?" And the guy selling it to him goes, "I'm not really sure." So the guy goes, "I'll check." He gets on it, and he goes down the alley.
He pays the money.
Pays
first.
the money.
Yeah.
He pays the money, cash.
And he says, all right, thanks, guys. I'm leaving.
He gets on the bike. He does about 60 miles an hour down the alley and locks him up and completely crashes.
So we're standing out there, and
Yeah.
this guy comes through the alley holding his arm.
Yeah.
And we're kind of squinting and going, is that the same guy? It is. And as he gets closer, we notice blood is pouring down his arm.
Yeah.
And then he gets to us, and the first words he says is, that bike doesn't have ABS.
Dude, and then he goes, "I want my money back."
And Dean goes, did you go down the alley and test to see if it had ABS? And he went, yeah.
It was, and we quickly found out how you know if it has ABS or not. It had tone notches around the tone ring, it was called, around the rotor.
Right, and it also has the little blinking
A sensor, yeah. Dude, this guy, 60 miles an hour, just locked him up.
That's the one way to test it, huh?
Oh, my God.
Hey, maybe try the back brake.
Oh, man. Wait, it was insane, man.
There's hundreds and hundreds of those stories.
Hundreds of those stories. And I just wanted to have you on just because
Thanks,
it was really, I really trip out on that time in my life because where I'm at right now, that seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it does.
And it was completely a different part of my life. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Every day I'd get up, I'd ride up the 170, I'd take the fucking Sherman Way exit, go around the back down the long weird alley by the cable place, and oh, you remember the one time? Oh, this is classic. This customer shows up. He's like a rich kid. He shows up in the new Vet, like the Z01 or the Z06. He goes, "You guys want to drive it?" And I go, "Yeah, I want to drive that." And you and I
jumped in that passenger.
yeah, and we go down. There's this alley where you can do about 200 miles an hour.
Yes.
And there's never anyone on it.
Yeah.
I take the traction control off. I press the fucking gas. This thing starts fishtailing
Right for the wall.
Right for the wall. We're going for the wall. I go, "Oh my God, I'm going to crash his brand new Vet." It's brand new. We're going right for the wall. I go, "What the fuck?" I don't even know what to do. I let off on the gas. It fucking swerves back. You and I laughed for...
And then we did it one more time.
Then we did it one more time. Oh my!
And then we got back, and he says, "How's it run?" We're like, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Dude, I mean, I almost crashed that thing. I'll never forget that.
Yeah. It was yellow, right?
It was yellow. Yeah. It's funny. There were times at the dealership, what you don't understand happens is there was a time where I did work one Sunday, just was filling in for someone, and we were next door to a Ryder, a U-Haul place. U-Haul next door to us. And I remember this guy came over and he goes, "Hey man, this won't fit in my U-Haul. I got to sell this bike." And it was a bike I wanted all my life. It was a Sturgis. And it's rare Harley. And it was clean as shit. And I think they're all numbered. It was like number 70 or something cool. And he goes, "Yeah, I got to get $5,000. And I knew the guy was no way. He couldn't take it. And I was like, "Well, you can leave it here. We'll sell it on consignment." He goes, "No, I don't want to do that. I need the money." And all I could get was like $3,000. That's all I had.
That's right, I remember that.
And I went and got $3,000 at my house and came back and gave him $3,000 for this fucking dream motorcycle.
Yeah.
And then the bike blew up a week later. It blew up. Remember?
When you owned it?
No, I bought it and then sold it.
Yeah, and then it blew up.
Yeah, and we had to fix it. We had to fix it for a guy. It blew up 5 seconds later. The guy rode away and it just blew up. Remember, it was just blowing smoke.
That's right.
I was like, "Oh no!" I'll tell you. And back then, it sounds like I had a lot of money, or you had a lot of money.
No, we lived on the edge.
We had no money.
Yeah, no, we had no money.
We would buy shit completely hoping we could, we're going to make money next month. And then we wouldn't make money and it'd sell everything. Yeah. Everything was a parachute that we owned.
Totally.
Yeah.
There was no time to enjoy it. It was in one hand and out the other.
And just no money.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the people we worked with, the owner was insane.
Yes.
He was super cool and crazy.
Yeah, he was crazy.
And all the people that worked there were crazy, but they probably thought I was the craziest.
Yeah. And me too, yeah.
Man.
No, we had good times, man.
25 years motorcycles.
Yeah. I don't know anything else.
I know.
That's all I know.
Yeah, you're a lot like me playing music. I didn't know anything else. You ever think about doing something else all the time or no?
All the time.
Yeah. How old are you now?
43.
43? You're only 43?
Yeah.
Dude, like you were like a kid when I was working there. I'm 53. So you're like 34 or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know. It just seems like, we're like the same age.
Even right now, it feels like we're the same age, yeah.
I remember one of the greatest days of my life. After I went back to work secretly, I worked for a while, and then things started to pick up a little bit doing comedy. And I had it with the employees. Again, it was the employees. Always just... it was these micro bosses.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget, I wore the same shirt for 3 years or 2 years or whatever, working at the... Yeah, this is the funniest. I never washed it. I never took it home. I just hang that shirt up every day. So the last day I worked, I hung the shirt up. It was a black shirt that said like Honda or something.
No. Wasn't it Cowie shirt?
Cowie shirt. That was it. It was black. They gave it to me the first.
Black,
yeah, it used to be black. It was completely brown from the sun. The sun had faded it completely brown. I hung it up. I took a picture of it. It was brown. I still got the photo somewhere. And I texted to Tia and said, I'm done. And the shirt, I remember I cleaned my desk and everything, that weird cubby hole, and the shirt just hung there like a flag. And I rode home. I remember riding home. It was only a 7-minute ride, and I was like, I've got to get funny. And you saw the photo and you just laughed your ass off.
That shirt was fantastic. Dude.
Yeah.
I remember that. I totally forgot about the shirt. Yeah.
It was fucking crazy.
It was brown.
Well, man, thanks for
having me.
sitting down with me, because it's just great to talk to you and just to think about as miserable as it was also fantastic.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
And I did once say this. I said, I'd rather work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for myself than 5 days a week, 40 hours for somebody else.
Yeah.
And I really learned that from that, because you and I worked so fucking hard,
Yeah, we did.
and they constantly would just take everything away from us.
Right.
It'd be like, if you sell this many bikes, you're going to get a bonus of this much. And then you did it, and they go, we need to readjust this.
Yeah.
And everything was readjusted.
You always wanted to put the bar somewhere you couldn't reach it.
And they also made it so you had to work like a slave, which is really bizarre. And I don't know anything but sales, because, what am I going to do? I performed all my life. But I did realize something there was, when you're doing sales, everyone thinks you're a liar.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The customer thinks you're a liar.
That's right.
They, no matter what, they think there's $1 million in the bike or whatever. And then the people working with you think you're a liar. Like, this guy making $1 million a year, like... It's really weird.
Well, wearing the Rolex watch while you're trying to sell a motorcycle doesn't help.
Yeah. But what's funny about it is, I wouldn't have wanted to work my ass off if I didn't like stuff.
Yeah.
If I didn't like stuff. So, okay, I made this money. I'm spending it all on a watch. Now I have no money.
That shit?
Yeah. And I have no money. I'm back to ground zero again. Yeah. But I think it would just keep me driving. Just like comedy, I always wondered, like, fuck, man, if I made it, what the fuck would I,
Yeah, you'd be a mess. Right?
Yeah. There was one time.
You're doing it good, Dean. You're killing it, man.
Well, I'm happier than ever.
Yeah, you are. You look happy, man. You look healthy. You look good, dude.
Yeah, except for my neck.
I fucked the neck.
Isn't it funny how, like, back then I had some kind of health problem. That's why I wanted health care. I don't think I had a health problem. I was just 40, and all of a sudden I was
I think you were paranoid a little bit.
I was 40.
Yeah.
And I was riding around L.A. with no health care. Yeah. To have health care was crazy. Yeah. I remember they cut something out of my side at Kaiser. I went there. Remember I had that marble on the side of me? What the fuck is that?
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Good to see you, dude.
Yeah, same here, man.
And who knows if you'll be back in California ever again. But I plan on coming back to Nashville again.
Yeah.
Hopefully spending some time here. I'm here for fucking 7 hours.
Come by the house next time, man.
Yeah.
I'll have you shovel some manure, man.
You know what I love, too, is that you listen to the podcasts, all the different ones. So you get to, like, Rogan, Joey Diaz.
Oh, I listen to all of them, man.
And you get...
Ari Shaffir is a good one, too, man.
Yeah.
Ari, Rogan. My son turned me on to Rogan.
Yeah.
And I started, I don't know. And then, he has a great podcast.
It's
really
fantastic.
Yeah. Joey Diaz is great. Yeah, all those guys, man.
Yeah.
Yours is amazing, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
some of your guests, it blows me away how you even find them. I'm like, how did he land this one?
Yeah. Well, you know I landed it.
Yeah, I know.
Same way I sold motorcycles.
Yeah, just getting your foot in that door, man. Never take a no and take no for an answer.
Never, dude. Never. Oh, fuck. All right, man. That's the episode right there. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. That's my man Garo. And hey, your shop got a Twitter?
Yeah, it's hooligancyclesusa.com.
In Nashville.
In Murfreesboro.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget to try the CBD Lion. CBD Lion. You do CBD oil?
Nah.
You got to get on this, dude.
Really?
It's great for me. CBD Lion, anxiety, sleep.
It's like virgin weed, right?
Yeah, but man, it really helps. Like, it's been helping with my neck
Really?
and sleep and
It's big out here.
oh yeah, it's, you know what, man? It's crazy that we've lived long enough to see that drugs we used to buy are saving us in the long run. It's weird, you know. CBDlion.com. Use the code DEAN. This stuff's vegan, non-GMO, third-party tested. It's not your dumb weird chemist. I'm using the tincture, 5,000 milligram, drops under the tongue, sleep like a king.
Really?
Yeah, and then I'm using the lotion, 900 milligram, rub that shit on my neck, get rid of all that shit, man. CBDlion.com. Use the code DEAN. Tell them I sent you. I love you guys. Keep the candles lit.